Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, episode number 127. My name is Glenn Gers, and every Monday through Friday, if I can make it, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I come to you here on this live stream to walk you through my process of writing a script to teach screenwriting. A lot of teachers teach how to write a great script, what a great script looks like, all the things about a great script, but they don't teach you how to get to that. The day-by-day, line-by-line, scene-by process of writing anything. Could be a drama script, could be a comedy script, doesn't matter. I happen to be writing a comedy drama script. What I'm showing you is every day's work, figuring out the outline, working up the rough draft, hammering that down, painful page by page, until you have a draft to read, doing the notes, looking through that, trying to figure out what you need to fix. And now we are doing the second draft. Every afternoon I come, I let you look over my shoulder for an hour as I work. I talk about my process because I think process is the most important thing that you can learn. Figuring out how you build a script, how you go back and forth between the outline and the page, how everything is not set in stone. I just got a great comment the other day. I love how everything is not set in stone. And I thought, yeah, that's something they don't teach you. As you work on it, you figure things out. No matter how much you figure out in advance, and you should outline, but still, as you work, new things come up, new problems, granular little like, how does this person talk? What is this person feeling in this moment? And what does that mean about the moment before? All of that stuff, that's the process. Hi, I write. Hello, Rachel. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. And I want to get right to it because we are working on rewriting the script. We are going from the end. We are starting at the end because that is the hardest part for this script. For most scripts, honestly, you start, you get the beginning perfect. The end is just something you just try and get through. That's a big mistake because the end is the most important part to the audience. The end is when they understand what it is they have been watching. It's when you feel the biggest satisfaction, the greatest kick, the biggest revelations. And yet, if you start every time you rewrite by going back to the beginning, you never really focus on the end enough. So now and then I just say, I'm going to do the last 20 pages. I will worry about the rest of it another time. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Maritalitoso. I just quoted you saying that you like how everything's not set in stone. Hello, Larry. Hope you've got something to eat this time, Larry. All right, so here's the deal. We are going into the ending. Let's talk ending. Just before I came on, I opened up the document and I started to see things about the dialogue. And so it actually came to me. I actually just made a little meme thing to put up on social media. Let me show you that. Yeah, there we go. You discover a character's voice by letting them talk. That is really important. So I thought you should see that. I don't yet have Deacon's voice. I sort of know what he's like. He's this rather firm, gentle, lovable old man. He's a guy you can really like, but I haven't quite got him down yet. I'm beginning to learn about who he is. So I started to write dialogue, just like this line, I can't talk to the police. I can't risk that. That's a very logical thing. But I realized that I kind of think that I like this idea that he says, I can't talk to the police. And Madeline says something back to him. At first I thought it's, you can if you're innocent, but to tell you the truth, the innocent, then I thought about his reply. I said, well, that's very innocent, because innocent would, if you're a retired serial killer, the word innocent becomes very complicated. Is he truly innocent? No, he's killed people. Is he innocent of this crime? Yes. So I thought that's a very easy word to say, but this is when I thought about his voice. I thought that's not quite right. So I like the idea of him saying, you must have a very simple life if like it's just innocent and guilty. But to tell you the truth, this whole thing is probably better as you know. So what I was thinking was like, I can't talk to the police, and what's going to follow from that? She could say, "You can if you're innocent. You must have a very simple life. You said you didn't do it. I didn't do it. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that would be okay for the moment." I can't talk to the police. You can if you're innocent. You must have a very simple life. You said you didn't do it. I said I didn't do this. That may not be the end of it for the police. Yeah, there we go. That's it. See, what I like about this is what he's not saying directly is, I used to be a serial killer. I have serial killed people. I have serially killed. Hi, Matthew. And I like the idea that he's not thrilled about saying that. like when earlier they say like, "Are you this chemistry set killer?" It's like, I never liked that name. There's moments when he's admitting things without saying them, and I'm beginning to get a sense of him as being intelligent, which you want from your serial killers, but also he's gentle. That's one of the things I want to get here. Is he's gentle. He's got a little sense of humor, but he's not like crafty, tricky Hannibal Lecter-y. Hi, Jean. Hello, Jean. Hello, Natasha. Hello. Glad to see you guys all here. We are talking character and dialogue because I just this moment wrote this little exchange here. Hello, Kitschy. So there's a bit of a dance here. There's a bit of a back and forth, a fencing. However, it's not. It's also just that these people are wary of each other. Anyway, like I said, I'm trying to learn their voices. It is very, very important when you are writing a script that you begin to have their voice in your head. It's not overly thought out. You just begin to get to know the character. You begin to say, oh, and the way that they come into existence and the way you know them is because you write something. You don't know it until you come up with it. You don't know it until you write a line and you're like, I like that line. And what's more, it sounds right for them. They are snippy or they are removed. Whatever it is, it just sort of locks in a little bit for you and you go, yes, that's a choice I am making. From now on, that person is a little bit of that. That's crucial to having a voice, because then when you're writing a scene, you're actually kind of jumping from character to character in your mind. You are going into their voice and then into the other voice. And in each case, you are listening to yourself. You are going, I just said this. Oh, I did. And then you think, what would I say if I was this? It's sort of like playing chess against yourself, except in many scenes you're playing 8-sided chess. Okay. Hello, Bongo. Does not matter if you are late. I am not keeping attendance. And I know that no one knows if I'm going to be here or not. I recognize that. Hello, Wolf Towers. And so therefore, if you miss a little something, it's okay. Check it out later if you want. I did not say anything particularly brilliant, although I did. I got to say this one's really pleasing to me. I just like this. You discover a character's voice by letting them talk. This will go on my social media sometime next week. And in the meantime, I just thought, literally just thought of it today, like 20 minutes ago. So I made that little graphic right away so that I remembered it. And I thought this is important to talk about because this is the stage we are at now. I have structured this. I know who these people are structurally. I've begun to get a sense of their story, but their voice, their style, their personality, it's very much a case of sort of method acting, of sort of pretending to be another person, masquerading. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a big part of writing characters and dialogue. Anyway. This little section here about how he felt, which provoked him to talk, is in the wrong place. This has to be somewhere here. So one of the things I was thinking about here, when he says, "I never liked that name," I think that she needs to respond a little bit to that, which is, she just said, "Are you the chemistry set killer?" And he said, "I never liked that name," which is not denying it, but it's also not admitting it. But you are the one that was podcasting about. Yes. And then he has to be really straight. Yes. All right. And you're calling. There we go. You're calling to tell me that you didn't do it. Then here, this is going to be a speech where he sort of catches us up to where she is. And what I'm thinking actually is this intercutting thing I set up here. I don't think that that's... each other. That's what I want to say. They're all talking each other. Boom. Boom. So this is, so what we're doing here is I'm just cleaning up these. I'm trying to get the scene to work and not go backwards. Like every once in a while, I'll like make an advance. Somebody will know something or say something, and then later on, I'll sort of go back to that. And so the main thing I'm doing right now is just reading through it and trying to clarify the shape of the scene. And I think this is not a particularly thrilling line, so I'm going to replace it. There we go. Because the point about this is these people are supposed to be all talking over, so we're not going to necessarily get every one of these lines. The point is that they're all talking each other. And this is all on the Zoom call. So now we want to go back to, what is this? Let's see, George's house living room continues. Okay. Okay. Yeah, from them. There we go. That's good. Turns away from them, trying to focus on deacons. That's it. All right. So now I'm just, what I'm doing is moving all this into one speech, because it's essentially the same speech. See, all this stuff, and this is not a speech yet. This is just a pile of stuff. But what I'm trying to get is this, that she talks to him, and he starts to try and sort of confessionally talk a bit, and then meanwhile Zena's coming up to her, which means that these two sentences, which are really the same. So this will have to get cleaned up at some point, but at least now. I have to figure out exactly where these go, and I'm going to trim them down. So this is like 3 lines, and this is 3 lines. That's just too long in the flow of the conversation. Okay. All right. Should I have the cops in a no-knock search use a sledgehammer or a battery charger? Blow up. Check with your local authorities on what they do. I would say that is one of those, flip a coin. What do you see? What do you picture? Right. How do we even... Okay, so this is good. So now we've got this scene. This actually is becoming a scene. It's not a great scene yet, but at least it's becoming a scene. Is that Yeah. Cool. From here so far into this part of the scene, now Xena butts in, and since people are talking to him, um, she steps up and changes the subject because Madeline and Deacons were talking about whether or not he should tell the police, and all of a sudden, Xena's there, like basically, "Hey, I want an interview." Um, You can overdo the period short sentence thing. So I was putting in a comma. Um, all right. And now this is not right here. This is not good yet. But I'm just sort of trying to see where it is in the shape of things. Also, we come to the big question of does I really like that Deacons does not know about any of this podcasting, web sleuthing stuff. That he has gone on with his life. He does not care about these people. But if that's the case, then as I mentioned here in the outline, that means we need to think about how Deacons finds out. I just don't like him, Deacons. Yeah, I just don't like Deacons lurking in the group. That's a decision. You see, this is really actually important. This is how, at least in my experience, how writing works. There are some things that you just figure out as you're going along. Oh, there, you come to a choice, you make a choice, you move. Other things you're like, I'm struggling. I'm not killing darlings. I'm not sure what's right to do. In those cases, name your choice, name your possibilities, put down your thoughts on what happens if you go this way or that way, and then leave it. Just make sure it's written down somewhere so that you can find it. So when you go back into the outline, you find yourself with this choice, which I put in pink, so that bright pink, so that I always can say, oh, I've got to deal with that. So in this case, I did that. I had the two possibilities. See, I said, make clear how Deacons found out. And then I had two possible paths. One is it went on the news. The other is that Deacons has been tracking these people. And there's reasons that I didn't want to do the news thing. But now, a couple days later, I look at it and there's no question in my mind. The news thing is right. The lurking thing is wrong. Super clear, easy. I don't feel any stress about it at all. That is how you do the writing thing. Because sometimes you're just, at the moment, you're hung up with, oh, I'm afraid of this, or I think that would be easier. And then later, when you come back to it, I cannot stress enough the value of coming back to things, stepping away and coming back. It's the only way I know to get like a fresh perspective on your work, so that you're seeing it as if you were reading it for the first time. And that's really important. It's just like if you were doing a painting, you would need to be able to look at it and see it and like as a different person, as not you, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to create this thing that will be that you'll understand what you're doing for another person. That's really hard to get in writing. In painting, they step back. One of the cool tricks in painting is you look at it in a mirror, turn around and you look at it in a mirror behind you, and you just see it differently. It's just anyway, the best way I know to clear up a question or a problem, if you really feel unsure, is don't decide yet. Write it down in a nice, clear way, sort it out as best you can, and then step away. Do something else. Don't just step away and have it like buzzing in the back of your head. This is a problem. Step away and do something else. In this case, I was working on other dialogue. When I come back to that question, there's just no problem. I am cutting this I am making this a choice. All right, boom. I'm moving this up to where it belongs, which is put a news van in the crime scene. Good. Okay, look at that. We have accomplished something. We have gotten somewhere. All right. Which means now so the sections of this are Zeno puts him on speaker, then he needs them to explain who they are. Let's see. And I just like this line, so I'm going to put it in here. Boom, boom. Dialogue. Who made you the sword of justice? The sword of justice. I'm not sure about when this is going to show up, but I like it. People with do. So there are a bunch of people playing detective. That's fun. So there are a bunch of people with nothing better to do playing detective. Amateurs. Hello, Marco. This is a form of entertainment, like a club. Social. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking about in here. It's because he's like, have you ever called? Because part of the question that they have to do is like, what if they did? What would they do? Like, it's a bad time to be what's the right word? Dirty cop? No. Yeah, dirty cop or a serial killer. It's a bad time to be a dirty con. All that stuff you used to be able to get away with because bad cop. Let's call it bad cop. Bad cop or a serial killer. All that stuff you used to be able to get away with because no one was looking. Phones have changed that. We're all talking to you. I just want to get this in somewhere. That the serial killer business has changed. Hello, Pakadomi. Pakadomi, however I should pronounce that. I did the best I could. Welcome. Glad to have you here. I am sure it is very late at night where you are, and I am sorry that I am keeping you all up, all you folks off in other time zones. All right. So now here. You never answered the question. All right. You never answered the question. Oops. Why should we believe you are who you say you are? You are who you say you are. Oh, Haiti. Not too bad. All right. Cool. Okay. Let's see what we got here. See, now at this point, people on the Zoom are talking out loud too. So when does Zena mute them or unmute them? Because I have her muting them. So I have her muting them here. Okay, I know what it is. Okay, what I want to get to here is at some point Zena has to say, we're a community. If anything happens to one of us, like it did to George, then everyone will know, and everyone will know, and we will all come after you. This is where this we're a community. All over the country. From all over the community. So now this is in response to some kind of threat. So I like the idea that here he says, have you ever caught one? A serial killer? Not so far. That's all right. Are you sure It sounds like, have you thought about what? All right, that's interesting. Okay. If you want a character to speak bad, mispronounce words, or something like that, do you put an indication of that in some part of the script? Yes, you kind of have to, because otherwise we wouldn't know. Hi, Metrolance. Okay, so here's the deal on that. If they pronounce things badly, or differently, doesn't have to be badly. It could be from just where they're from. Like, then you do need to indicate that, like, if Deacons was more like, it's like, all you stinking interneters. Okay, so then yeah, you would have to do stinkin', right, and all you is grammatically incorrect and interneters isn't a word. So if Deacons was perhaps not as graceful in his speech, yeah, you have to write that. You don't want to write it so much that it becomes distracting or annoying, or hard to read, but you do want to imply people's accents or form of speech. Definitely. Okay. And I actually think that why do you do this? Why would you do this? Why would you do this? All right, so this stuff is too introductory. Let's get this back here. Let's get this up here. Are you real detectives? Are you actual detectives? What do you mean? What do you mean? Like professional law enforcement? No. Are you real detective? He said. From home. From home and office. So you're not professional detectives. No. So you're not professional detectives. Not actual professionals. Amateur. There's a long long tradition of amateur detectives in books, movies. We're citizen sleuths. There we go. Okay, this is good. This is good. This is just not appropriate here. All right. Okay, so not actual professionals. There's a long tradition of amateurs. Non-professional detective solving. There's a whole tradition of books and movies. Harnessing the power of All right, so I've got these like hunks of stuff that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with, but I like. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Gene. I knew there was a word I was not getting. Armchair detectives. That's great. Thank you. It was a long tradition of armchair detectives. Archmare. That's not quite the same thing. Okay. Thank you, Gene. Yeah, progress is good. We're into the second draft. I am now rewriting. I'm fixing this gosh darn script. Hi, Aaron. Nice to have you join us. So to answer your question, flying over trout, we're good. We're good. I spent a couple weeks discussing the big picture of what was needed in the rewrite, and then I decided to focus on the last 20 pages. The last 20 pages is really important. The third act of anything is where you've got to be at your best. You've got to pull together all the threads. And sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what threads I'm pulling together until I work on the beginning. But the truth is, you've got to make that ending soar and kick and like dazzle. And so I really want to try and like get some confidence that I know what we're heading into. All right. So that's why I am working on the ending first. Also because you just don't have to write in order all the time. That's simply not important. Now and then you have to go through it. But truthfully, writing in order is way overrated. Okay. Especially if you have an outline. You should have an outline. Everyone should have an outline. Yes, exactly. No, the defense, what they call a parenthetical, leads to the next line, because if you read it after, it's too late. So the point is, she is in this line. She is admitting, she's confessing, she's giving in, and then she pushes back. So he says, "You're not professionals." And she's like, no, but, and that's why defense, I wanted to show the change, the mental shift. And that's one reason that you do these. You try not to do this if it's obvious, and this is right on the edge of obvious. But I also now and then like to show to give a little insight if it's been a little too neutral, or if people are talking carefully. Sometimes when people are talking carefully, the lines themselves don't express the emotion. Armchair Olympics, yes. Okay. Right, as in writing episode by episode, act by act. No, I mean line by line. I mean page by page. I mean, writing page one to page end is overrated. It's not that valuable. Sometimes it's nice, it gives you something, like, okay, I'm on this page, now I'm on the next page. But if you have done an outline and you have an idea about what you're doing, and especially when you are rewriting, the first draft, I think it's probably a good idea to just charge ahead and go page one through till the end. Once you're rewriting, once you have material to work with, there is absolutely no reason to start at the beginning and trudge through all the time. Different times you'll be working on different parts of it. You can just go to that part. You don't have to get there by going through every word that led to it. A lot of people sort of feel like they have to keep doing that. It's like going back to the beginning and marching through. And if you have a problem in the middle, you can't fix that until you've gone through everything else again. That tends to make the beginnings of scripts overwrought, overpolished, and the ends of scripts weak and careless. So therefore, I just urge you, once you have a rough draft, to not feel like you have to rewrite starting on page one and going through it. By the way, I just think that's one of those things that nobody seems to talk about. So it's a kind of like among the things that you can only get here on this website, on this channel, is that I don't see the advantage to having to rewrite from the beginning all the time. Let's see. Would Deacons be the series' main killer, but then the webs catch a different killer each week? No. The idea of this is that this is sort of a mini series with a single story for the. I'm going to leave this up so people can understand what I'm answering. The series that this is about catching deacons, or dealing with deacons, or dealing with George's death. So this is it's like Mayor of Easttown or True Detective. There is a crime at the beginning, and then the next 7 to 10 episodes are the lengthy exploration of how that crime is solved. And then if there was a continuing other seasons, it would be because these people then deal with other things. But this story is just about George's murder. All right. Interestingly, the way you put that is sort of interesting and cool. The idea that this group is like doing a crime a week, there is a structure. A lot of it's sort of halfway between what's called a limited series and what they call a procedural, or some people call it episodic or whatever, where you've got like the case of the day, the case of the week. And then there came a kind of hybrid series like The Good Wife or some other things, where there's sort of overarching concerns that run through the season and the series, but then every week or two, sometimes they take 2 or 3 weeks, there's the case, and then there's a new case and a new case. This group of people, frankly, lucked into an actual case by freak accident. The truth is, these people wouldn't solve a case a week if they worked until the end of time. They never solve anything. The only reason that they're frankly solving this is because one of them did it. Otherwise, this crime none of this would have happened, because the serial killer would have stayed safely buried. The only reason that this all is happening, remember, in case you've forgotten, is that Xena actually killed George to take over his podcast and stir up interest in the crime that she would then solve. So yeah, that's this group does not ever solve anything. You wrote something from Act 3 before anything, and it made sense. You can fill in the other one. Yes, exactly. It depends. Sometimes it's the middle. So and like I said, the rough draft, the first draft, sometimes it's better to just march through it because you don't know what you're doing yet. But when it comes to rewriting, also if you have some fabulous inspired moment in the middle or at the end, just get it down. The main thing is never put off getting something written down. This is really important. Here it is. Oops. Yeah, write it down. Always write it down. The most important thing about being a writer is write everything down. All your notes, all your thoughts, all your plans and problems, everything. Write it down. Until you write it down, you got nothing and you're not writing. You're not a writer. Always write everything down. That's like so big, and people don't make a big enough thing out of it. It's a big deal. A writer has to be in the habit of writing. You have to be in the habit of whenever you start to think, I need to work on this, you instinctively start writing down questions, answers, scene bits of dialogue, descriptions, whatever it is, write it down. Because then you're a writer and you have something to work with. Then you are working in words, not in thoughts. Thoughts are cheap. Words are cheap too, but you can work with them. So, okay. Start working the last third of my script out of order. Yeah, exactly. Me too. I have to tell you, one of the reasons I'm saying this is because I always get hung up. I've got some really incredible first acts that I never finish the script of, and that's really a pain. Okay. So, yes, great. Thank you. And now, what do you think of a scene for a different... What if you think of a scene for different than the one you're writing? Write it down. Yeah, of course. Write it. Write it down. Yeah, this is so important. This is great. You should get in the habit of writing everything down all the time in your life. That should be just part of your life. Something occurs to you, write it down. I have an app on my phone where I could just take notes, and then I just hold them there. The next day I open my app, I've got things to do, like I've made a note like, oh, go to the grocery store and here's what I have to buy. And next to that is a note about a character. I copy the one about the character out of my things to do grocery lists, put it in the project folder for anything I'm doing. If I don't have a project open, if I get an idea for something that I haven't started, start one. Open a folder. Open a document, say idea. Blah. That way, whatever you're thinking is getting used. It's getting put into the machinery of writing. It's really, really, really important. Yes, if you think of something, a different scene, fine. A different story, fine. I have hundreds of folders of like, this could be a cool idea, or something I even started working on. Write it down. Okay. Yeah, no, you don't even need to put it in your other, remember, you guys are, if you want to be writers, you have a lot of projects that you're going to be working on in your life. And you might even have a couple that you're working on at the same time. But certainly, you don't just do one thing and focus on it and don't think about anything else. And if another thing comes to you, you just say, I don't care about that inspiration. It's not the thing I'm working on. Bad policy. Good policy is, ooh, cool idea. Write it down, put it aside. It will wait now because it's written down. Then you can go back to it and go, oh, cool, I got a start of something. That is the fastest, healthiest way to keep your brain clear for the work. Yes, indeed. This is the famous 3 Spider-Man meme. And No Way Home was that whole Marvel Spider-Man trilogy is magnificent. I can't believe it was not nominated for Best Picture. That's just silly. And it wasn't nominated for the Writers Guild, which it really should have been, because apparently they didn't submit it on time for the Writers Guild Awards. And I am puzzled as to that. It's a bit of Hollywood gossip. But yes, Spider-Man No Way Home should have been nominated for a Writers Guild Award. I would certainly have voted for it, except it wasn't nominated because they did not submit the script on time. I can't imagine that Marvel, with billions of dollars and thousands of employees, that nobody said, hey, we got a deadline coming up on that award. Should we send the script? It's very possible they just didn't care. It was like, we don't care about the Writers Guild Award. I don't know. All I know is that was a shame. But even more of a shame is the Academy Awards not recognizing Spider-Man or Marvel in general. Marvel's doing some good stuff. I mean, partly the voters of the Academy are still 70% or something, 80% old people, old white guys, frankly, and they just don't get it. All right. As long as you have something written for your story and have nothing, you're making great progress in some fashion. That is true. Have I seen Better Call Saul? Yes, I am an absolute Better Call Saul fan. I cannot wait for the final season, which is coming soon, actually. Apparently, they are shooting and editing as we speak. I think it is brilliant. What can you learn from it? Different things. One thing you can learn from it, they were in a position where they could do something daring and advanced. They could go slow and take their time on things because they had the support of having done better Breaking Bad, and they had power. It's just that simple. When you've got a huge hit behind you, very often the company that's supporting your next thing will just say, do what you want. We trust you. Stay in this budget. You're cool. Do it. Try it. I cannot say enough about how magnificent the writing is there. It's not the only, Marvel, Better Call Saul, very, very different. But the main thing is what they are doing to the greatest intensity they can. They are doing their thing all out. They are not trying to hedge their bets by saying, people might not understand that or people might not like that. They are saying, I am going to trust the audience is following the way I'm working. And it is an amazing thing when you get to see really talented people who get the opportunity to really, really pursue their particular style and vision. And that's what both Marvel and Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad have done. Okay. I'm going to be signing off soon, so let's see. Put away. Yes, exactly. It's really, really good. Okay. Key to make an emotional, sad scene in injustice, and writers can't avoid injustice. That is true. Okay, so true. Leadership to the writers. Sometimes, for every great auteur story of somebody just pulling off a magic act, you get somebody who is been given a ton of money and a ton of power, and they make something just crazy bad. At least in my opinion. What can you do? All right. So, but that's the whole point of art. Honestly, I would rather see something crashingly bad than something safe and corporate thought out. Okay, we're gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. You can keep watching if you want, but you'll just be seeing a blank screen. I'm gonna have a great weekend. I hope you do too. I will see you. Actually, I think I will not see you on. Let me just check my calendar here. I believe I've got something. No. Monday's clear. Oh, it's President's Day. That's cool. All right, I'll be here. For those of you who will also be here, see you Monday. In the meantime, go write something.